It's March 27, 2016, and we want to know, who will be the king of the serrated knives when Deathstroke faces off against Red Hood?
Should we have been dreamcasting Channing Tatum as Sinestro all along?
It's all coming up now. It's DCU Week 43 here at DCR.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of DCR. I am your host, Sean Lamont. Comic book looker-atter this week. I don't even want to say reader because I was only able to read my titles. I'll get to yours later, I guess. But I am joined...
Man, I can make up whatever I want.
Oh, I guess I should say I'm Sean Lamont. Hi.
Oh, yes, hey there.
Hey. I'm also joined by Mr. Brian Glein. Hello, sir.
Hey there, Sean.
You can just make things up. Yes, I can't correct you.
Power.
Power. No, this is called a check to see if I can trust you in the future. So I know you sometimes let your jokes go a little too far as your setup, so I just realized I can't pull you back this time.
All right.
And what the end goal here is, why don't you tell the folks what the end goal here is?
We are going to be spoiling all of the comics that came out in the DCU line this past week.
Yep, talking about things that happen in them, plot lines, character development, storylines.
Okay.
So if you do not want your book spoiled, if you have not read them, don't listen to this show. Some of you maybe knew, maybe saw a movie this weekend and went, hey, what is this whole DC Comics thing?
If you're somehow still interested.
Ouch, man. Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it.
Okay. So you're one of those Johnny-come-latelys jumping on the bandwagon, huh?
You know, I read a spoiler-free review. It confirmed all of my suspicions. I don't need to spend my money on it.
It's a good Elseworlds movie.
Okay.
That's what you can say. So,
all right.
We're not talking about that. We'll save that for later until after you've seen it. So you're going to spend your money if I have to drag you there because I want to discuss it, and I'm not going to do so until after you've seen the movie.
Okay.
So, but if you are interested in the comic side of things, that's what we're here for. We're going to fill you in on everything that happened this week.
How much happens in front of an IHOP?
All of it. It's all in an IHOP and a Sears.
All right.
Those two, yep.
Okay.
They just toss each other back and forth between an IHOP and a Sears. It's madness, I tell you.
These pancakes make me sad, like the day my parents were shot.
All right, stop it. Let's go see the movie. So I guess that counts as a spoiler warning. I think we fairly warned everyone that we're going to spoil the books from the week. So let's just go ahead and IHOP to it.
Yes, let's IHOP to
this week's books.
All right. We are starting off with Batman number 50.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, I figured, tie-ins and everything. People might be interested in Batman and hearing what he's about.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of tie-ins, the BVS alternate cover for this issue is by Daughtry.
Wait, by like the singer Daughtry?
The singer Daughtry.
Are you sure it's the same one?
It's the same one. I read an article about it. I'm like, wait, no, that can't. What? Was Drake too busy? Was this just more proof that BVS is
Drake dance moves? That's what he was doing.
Is BVS just the antithesis of everything I stand for? I mean, I just think if the DCU was a success, I might now, be able to find out if the guys from Rat-a-Tat were good at drawing or something. I don't know.
But see, you're learning something though.
Yes.
You've learned something new. Daughtry can draw pictures.
Daughtry can draw pictures. Yes,
hell of a lot better than I am.
Yeah. So Batman is back from the dead.
Kind of.
He was killed, quotation fingers, by the Joker, but really he just got bad amnesia.
There was more to it, obviously, because he was killed in a regenerative pool.
Yeah,
and it fixed his brain damage that he had that was making him a psychotic murderer of villains and everything.
Yes,
and then he was just a normal happy guy.
Yes, but and then Jim Gordon took over as Batman, a police-sanctioned Batman in a gigantic robot mech suit.
Yes.
It was kind of like a skinnier version of the Hulkbuster. You just run around, weep, whoop, weep, whoop around Gotham City.
Whoop in.
Yeah, and He ran afoul of a gentleman named Mr. Bloom, who is a crazy flower-themed villain who has taken over the city and grown to about 10, 15 stories tall.
Like you do as a flower.
As you do, yeah. Like a weed. Come on. All right. So Batman, he kind of like bonked himself in the head hard enough to remember that he was Batman.
A lot of coconuts.
Yep. So he's back from the dead. He's got a new gray costume with some cool boots and gloves and some yellow piping around the bat symbol and his utility belt. You know it's a new version of Batman.
Sure.
But Mr. Bloom, he's giant, he's super powered, he can control electricity, and he's taken over the robot Batsuit police force that had come in after Jim Gordon had been fired. And for every person in the city that has taken one of his power seeds, he's got these seeds that he gives people and gives them like janky superpowers and then kind of kills them.
Sure. They burn out really quickly.
Yeah. So he's given his seeds to a bunch of people around the city, and so every person that plants the seed inside of themselves, it makes him even more powerful. And it's creating this giant concussive energy ball in the middle of the city that is so undefinable, Gotham's leading scientific minds can only call it a strange star.
Okay.
This is just like, there's so much strange matter. Yes, strange matter is a thing. This is comics. Come on.
And it's glowing like a star.
Yes.
Like some sort of strange star.
Watch me find out that Zack Snyder has been researching something called not Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. I was going to check with you beforehand. What's his first name?
Scott Snyder.
Yeah. Scott Snyder writes a much happier Batman. Smiles on occasion. Makes jokes. So, Scott Snyder probably knows something about actual strange matter, and I'm making a complete fool of myself right now.
This is the man that we have happily dubbed the Snyderpedia because he does research on these things.
So much.
I can almost assure you he has done much more research on this than you have.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. So Jim Gordon needs to get to the hospital. He got beat up in the last few issues, and Julia Pennyworth, who is Alfred's daughter, who is one of his sidekicks running the control room on his robot suit, is trying to get him there because she doesn't want to bury another Batman.
Oh, God.
And she's like, oh, my God, I'm becoming my father. Oh, hello, darkness, my old friend. And then they get attacked by Bloom seed freaks, like a bunch of people that he'd arrested. Like, Bloom outed him as Batman, so a bunch of former Jim Gordon collars are now all have weird spinety powers. And they're
awesome.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming he just has a revolver and not his own mustache to protect him. No mustache to shield him from danger.
Mustache to shield him from anything. But Batman shows up and just beats the crap out of everyone with a flag and the bat symbol from the bat signal. Like, hey, Jim, who died and made you Batman? I was going to do that thing with the flag, but I figured I'd just let you have the moment. They're just like the best friends, just cracking jokes. And Batman's just like, Arkham Asylum style. He's like, it's like, oh yeah, they're not murdered. They're just very badly injured. Yeah, he's just beating the crap out.
They will never walk again.
And this is like one step away from Batman and Jim Gordon just turning into their versions from Teen Titans Go that just go out and have ice cream together. And I want that to happen so bad.
And set off the ultimate batarang that's just a Batman themed fireworks show.
Yep. There's also a great bit during the fight where Alfred chimes in over his earpiece and is just like, oh, hello, Master Bruce. I'm really upset that you're not normal anymore, but I just thought I should let you know that the Dionysium healed you completely. No more scars, nothing. You're the strongest, most powerful Batman ever. Just thought you should know. Try not to break yourself in 5 years again. Don't want to bury another Batman and all that jazz.
You know the whole deal.
You know what I say. So
dinner will be in the Batcave promptly at 5.
Mm-hmm. Business as usual. I do love a routine. Meanwhile, Duke Thomas, a kid that Batman... actually, he saved Batman.
Correct.
Long ago.
Twice, even. And he's been running around in the We Are Robin as one of the leaders. We'll actually talk about him a little bit later this episode.
Okay, yeah. He found out that his cousin Daryl, who was the other Jim Bat's control room sidekick, actually invented the Mr. Bloom seeds and was going to be Mr. Bloom until he tested them on a bunch of Pottersfield corpses, and one came to life and took over as Mr. Bloom. We may never know who actually became Mr. Bloom. He's almost like Jim Gordon's Joker. Jokes. Laughs. So,
isn't that funny, guys?
Yeah. So Daryl activates a seed and goes crazy, and Duke has to take him out and commandeers the Bat Blimp.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Those things don't turn very quickly. Very hard to maneuver.
Yeah, teenagers always joyriding in their gigantic dirigibles. All right. So Batman takes on Mr. Bloom and a bunch of the fake bat suits, which Mr. Bloom has made them look like his rogues gallery because they've got camouflage stuff.
Gotcha.
He even takes out a gigantic Joker bot, which he then commandeers and has a giant Gundam fight against Mr. Bloom.
Wait, is it like the Joker bot that they had before from Detective Comics?
I don't know. I mean, it was one of
the one that Joker's daughter brought up, the giant Big O style robot.
I didn't read that one. Okay. It's entirely possible, but
that would be a nice little tie-in. I think
it would be if you know the Powers Corporation just commandeered it and made it one of their bat suits.
Yeah.
Eventually, Duke shows up in the Bat Blimp and is able to magnet Mr. Bloom to it right in front of the Strange Star. He bails and Batman saves him. So Bloom is ripe for the picking of Jim Gordon. So Jim Gordon, he refused to go to the hospital. Batman even handcuffed him to a helicopter door that wouldn't unlock until he got to the hospital. But Jim just took the door off the hinges and has been carrying it around all issue, which is fantastic. He commandeers a bat symbol made of pure Batmanium.
I
shrug.
Sure.
It might have been mentioned offhand as something the Powers Company was working on.
Okay.
I don't remember.
That had to have been in one of your books, not one of mine.
It's super conductive. So he uses the Robot Bunny bat suit to go on top of the building and amplifies a disruption signal through the Batmanium bat symbol, and Mr. Bloom gets sucked into the Strange Star. It's just like everything's happening at once.
Never to be seen again.
Never to be seen again. And Jim might be dead. Epilogue, but he's not. Jim's fine. His mustache even grows in faster than the rest of his hair.
Yes.
So it's like Julia's just like, my goodness, your mustache is just is even more powerful than you are. You probably didn't even need that suit. You could just use the mustache.
It's the power of Batmanium. It made my mustache grow.
Yes. So the Bat Cop program has been shut down, and the Powers Company is just donating money to city organizations. Stick to the status quo, everyone.
Are they still around? Were they like shut down or anything?
They are still around. They are using their vast monetary resources to try to better Gotham in different ways.
Gotcha. So they're still around.
They're still around to be used.
A Batman Beyond villain in the future.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Duke Thomas's parents are permanently Joker gassed from Endgame. Making him an orphan, and man, it looks like Bruce's orphan points are about to double.
Oh boy.
He loves his orphans.
That's right. Is he still working at the shelter for
theoretically
for
not? We do see his art teacher girlfriend, Madison Payne, I believe it was.
Yes, who had no idea he was Batman.
Who had no idea he was Batman. Cough, cough. She now, of course, knows that he's Batman, and so she is still working at her, kids' art complex or whatever, and she sees a little brick signed with the name Bruce Wayne, so she's probably gonna try to track him down still.
Well, good.
Or still stick around as a character.
Batman's relationships always work out well. They always center him, so it'll be nice for him to have a loving relationship for a long, long time.
Yes, nothing bad happens to them at all.
Surely she will not be tossed from a murder helicopter to her death by the Penguin, or anything along those lines.
Or the Mad Hatter,
or yes. Or turn out to be a villain all along and betray him and stab him in the back. None of these things ever happen to Batman, so it'll work out very well. But
right.
What is that? How did that work out as a ending, so to speak, to this super heavy storyline? Did it work? Did it feel rushed? Did it feel?
It seemed a hair rushed. It wasn't quite as meticulous as previous Snyder,
build-ups
and endings.
All endings tie in.
Yeah, this was just sort of like, everything's going crazy, comic books, and I can't complain about that, to be perfectly frank.
Sure.
And hey, maybe it'll turn out that, Batmanium and Strange Matter are actual things.
I'm pretty sure Strange Matter is. It's the Batmanium I'm pretty sure he made up.
Yeah. But hey, but like I said, all these things were piled on top of each other. If you have been reading the Snyder stuff from the beginning to now, there's a lot of stuff that he picked up that's hard to explain in a recap. But you can read it like, oh, hey, that paid off. Cool.
Yeah,
it seemed like nonsense at the time.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice. He usually doesn't leave very many strands hanging.
No,
so
not
he
at
likes
all.
to tie up his own stuff. And I know he's moving off of Batman in the next month or two. So,
but he's going to detective. So Shrug?
Actually, maybe not.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. So he may be going elsewhere to do a different book or do a different. He doesn't want to do a bi-monthly book is why he was moving off of Batman.
Gotcha.
Because he doesn't think he can keep the pace to make it a bi-monthly book.
Yeah, you're right. That is going to be bi-monthly coming up.
Yeah, and then they said Detective was going to be monthly and now it's going to be bi-monthly as well. And he went, that was kind of my whole stopping point for Batman. So he might just be writing his own Batman style book that's on a monthly schedule.
See.
So, to be determined. Obviously it's being discussed right now. We're actually recording during the Rebirth news conference stuff going on at WonderCon right now. So we'll catch up to that and talk about that stuff next week. I'm sure.
Or maybe during the break.
Maybe we'll get it either way. So moving on to another movie property character that maybe you saw this weekend, Wonder Woman. Boom, 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 boom. Does anyone like the 70s Wonder Woman?
I'm just saying, if you're going with the modern Wonder Woman, I'm assuming it's just thumping techno music when she shows up.
War drums. Awesome music, dude. Awesome music for her whenever she shows up.
The music was the best part of Man of Steel.
It's actually really a good theme, I think, for her moving forward.
Gotcha.
It has that whole like really powerful, like, I ain't here to screw around.
That's the one thing. It's like, well, this movie happened. At least we've got Wonder Woman to look forward to. It's like, oh my god, that's just what every one of these movies is. Well, Wonder Woman wasn't that great. I guess we got Justice League to look forward to.
Come on, you're just being a negative Nancy.
I hope so.
Quit being a negative Nancy.
Sorry.
Until you've seen it, you can't really do that.
Okay.
You have to at least see it first. Wonder Woman number 50, 5-0, the big 50, looking to save her family. And as we all know now, her family being the pantheon of Olympus, all of the Greek gods, because as she had found out in the past, she is actually a demigod. Zeus is her dad. He went and got busy with her mom, Hippolyta, and as he does, Zeus is very promiscuous, shall we say?
Yes.
So she found out she was a demigod.
Sometimes he's a goose, sometimes he's some rain, but he's always getting busy.
But in this case, everyone's going kind of bonkers on Mount Olympus. Everyone's acting out of character. They're even saying that. Man, ever since the creative team changed, everyone's been acting kind of out of character. How strange. Yeah. Well, here's the reason why. Things are not as they seem, because Zeus was reborn as baby Zeke. He has to do that every couple millennia. He has to be reborn, and he was reborn into this little baby toddler with the powers of Zeus, and now he's sick. He's very, very sick, like dangerously sick and coughing in his sleep, and everyone's just like, oh man, baby Zeke, I don't think he's gonna pull through. This is bad. If he goes, the rest of the Pantheon's gonna fall with him. And Wonder Woman went, well, I better find a way to help him out. I love this little toddler kid. He's the best. Just like Brian and Sean do. They love this little guy. Let's keep him around. Mm-hmm. And so she has been going off trying to find a way to save him. And the only way she has been able to find so far is working with the goddess of black magic and necromancy, Hecate. And she looks evil as sin. And Wonder Woman goes, I know you're probably evil, but I gotta help you out. And Hecate goes, cool, here's what I need you to do. Break into Mount Olympus, steal the 3 orbs from Hera's scrying pole, because I'll need those, and bring them back to me. And that's what she went into Olympus to do, but was quote unquote captured by Cyclopses.
Scott Summerses.
Tons of Scott Summerses everywhere. And is that what they call like a group of them?
Yes, Scott Summers. Yes. Hey, Scott Summers just being, it's like, oh man, look at all those Scott Summers just being mopey over there.
But she was quote unquote captured by them, but it turns out that they're actually trying to help her. And the reason why? Because they are prisoners of Hephaestus. Down in Hephaestus's forge, because they helped
There's a parliament of owls and a mope of Scott Summers.
A mope.
Continue, I'm sorry.
So we see Hephaestus show up and act extremely out of character, abusing these Cyclopsians, this mope of Cyclopi. And just saying, hey, you helped us overthrow the Titans and Zeus was going to kill you afterwards, but I hid you down here. Quit trying to escape. And he's abusing them and hitting them and breaking all their little like artifacts that they built that they cherish. And he's like, if you guys try to escape again, I'm going to kill you like Zeus wanted me to back in the day. And he goes stomping off. And Wonder Woman's like, man, even Hephaestus is acting out of character. This is weird. So the Cyclopes say, hey, we want to help you out. So, here's the way out so that no one will see you. And she goes, yeah, but I'm going to save you guys and free you. But she can't do it. The chains that they're in are magically ensorcelled. So she goes, don't worry, I'll come back and get you guys later. I'm not going to let this stand, even if Hephaestus is acting out of character because of this whole sickness thing that's going around. So she brings back the orbs to Hecate and goes, here's the orbs. I don't know why you want them. You better fill me in on what's going on. And she goes, oh, they're not actually orbs. They're the eyes of those Cyclops that you just saw. Actually, after they helped Zeus out in overthrowing the Titans, they were able to see the future. Cyclops thought that was a little too powerful, so he popped out their eyes and used it to power Hera's scrying pool. And Wonder Woman was like, yeah, but I just saw them. They have eyes. She goes, yeah, Hephaestus forged them new ones. Like Hephaestus does. Just run with it. And she goes, whatever, fine. And they use it to find other people because as Hecate explains this whole thing out, yeah, see, here's the lowdown. Zeus untied the strength of the gods, all of the Greek pantheon, from the belief of humans because not very many people worship the Greek pantheon right now. So that's why everyone was losing their powers and growing weaker and weaker and dying earlier. And then he made Donna Troy as fate and tied her to the spirit of Earth itself. So ta-da! No longer are the gods powered by the belief of people on Earth. They're powered by the spirit of the planet itself. So as long as the planet Earth's around, they have powers. Everyone's happy. Problem being, Gaia, that Titan, you remember her? Yeah, she is the actual spirit of Earth, so they're technically drawing their power from Gaia, and there was that whole betrayal thing where the gods smote down all the Titans, and Gaia even helped them out, but then they chained Gaia inside Earth and locked up all her kids, kind of backstabbing her. She's still a little salty about that, so they've pretty much poisoned their own well by making her the source of their power, and she's making everyone sick and act completely out of character. That's what's been going on here. And Wonder Woman goes, oh man.
We gotta free her kids. Mati, Linka, Wheeler.
Well, that's what she says. She says, you have to go free your kids. You have to go free them. Not those ones though. Okay. Different kids. In this case, it is the Cyclops, the mope of Cyclops, the, Typhoeus, father of monsters, and last but not least, the Hecaton Kyres, the giants that helped overthrow the Titans back in the day. They were all locked up by the gods, and as Hecate says, if you free them, Gaia will be like, cool, we're evens, and release their sickness from everyone in the pantheon. So Wonder Woman goes, okay, I know you're evil, and I know you have an ulterior motive, but this is the only lead I have, and runs off to go free the father of monsters from underneath Mount Etna. And she gets there and she's like, okay, on top of the mountain here. I was told they're under it, but oh, look, someone else is already here. And it's Ares, god of war, who's standing there. And she's like, oh, hey, Ares, we used to be best friends. How's it going? You're my mentor. You taught me how to fight. What can I do for you? And Ares goes, yeah, I'm back to life. I'm not dead anymore. Kinda not the god of war anymore either, cause you are. Mind if I get that whole god of war thing back? And she goes, no, I can't just hand it over. That's not really how it works. And you know that. You would have to kill me to take it. And he's like, yeah, I know. Figured I would ask to see if you would just surrender and die. Gonna have to kill you though so I can get my God of War powers back because I'm acting out of character. Woo! Look how out of character I am. And he tries to attack her. They end up falling down into the prison below where, Typhoeus is being held, who's a giant winged serpent. And as they're fighting, Wonder Woman breaks the chains that are holding him and never-ending stories him out of the cave back to Hecate herself. Jumps on his back and flies around, chases some bullies into a dumpster. You know, the usual.
Yeah.
Like you do when you're on a giant flying dragon. I think that's about it, except when she gets back, she says, hey, here's the father of monsters. He doesn't seem very bad. He's actually quite friendly, just like the Cyclops were. This is kind of weird. I kind of feel like I'm not being told the whole story here, but where are the Hecaton Kyres at? I'll go free them next. And Hecate says, oh, well, they're locked in Tartarus, right back at your home in Paradise Island. And she goes, guess I better head home and take care of them. So she's going to head on back. More Greek mythology. I like it. I love the Greek mythology stuff. They gave it out as to why everyone's been acting all weird ever since the creative team changed. They have a way of cleaning it all up. And if Ares is coming after Donna Troy to reclaim his God of War title, that gives them a really good reason for the two of them to be fighting all the time, without it just being, I'm the God of War and I'm evil. You know, he actually wants to be the God of War again, but Wonder Woman has that title and he has to kill her to regain it. That's a pretty good reason.
Yeah.
I think. I like that one. There is a backup in this though, because it is the Big 5-0.
Ah, yes.
Donna Troy back up, who has been sent off into the countryside in England to kind of find herself now that she has become fate incarnate. And Wonder Woman was like, hey, you know what? You've been kind of being bossed around quite a bit by a lot of people. You just go off with your horse Discordia and your Pegasus that you got there and just works out your stuff and figure out what's going on. So she's doing that when all of a sudden she gets a vision of a little boy who is about to drown in the storm that's going on nearby. And she goes, oh, well, I better go save him. But then she gets another vision of that same little boy shooting and murdering someone in town. And she's like, what do I do? Does this mean if I save him, he's gonna murder someone? Does this mean, if I don't save him, he's gonna end up climbing out and murdering I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do here, but I'm fate. Maybe I have control of fates and these are just things that could happen and I can actually intervene and stop it. So she goes and saves the little boy who's like maybe 10, 11-ish or so and brings him back home. And it turns out that he was trying to fish up a dinner for his mom because their dad just died, or his dad just died, and they don't have any money to get her anything for her birthday. So it was their tradition. He and his dad would go out and fish up dinner for his mom's birthday. And that was all he was trying to do. And it's like, oh, well, he's back with his mom. It's a loving family. Everything's fine. Next day she heads into town because she's like, man, I did good. I saved someone's life. But then finds that the little boy is holding a bank teller hostage with a gun because he just wants to get some money to buy his loving mom a present. And the gun accidentally goes off and the police end up shooting the kid and murdering him. And, she's just standing there like, what? Is this what my role is moving forward? Cause fate kinda sucks a big one if this is what my role is moving forward. And she goes wandering off into the night, like super depressed, like totally depressed that now she's just going to be put in, her role is now making impossible decisions. Do I save a kid's life knowing that he's going to murder someone later on, or do I just let him die? Am I then complicit in the child's death or this bank teller's death? What the hell?
Man, for a second there, it seemed like there's like, oh, I'm just going to be a CBS procedural now. Okay.
No,
that took a turn.
Yep. But she ends up walking away before she could find out that the bank teller that was shot was keeping teenage girls hostage in his basement.
Oh my God.
And the police end up finding them and freeing them, all because of a bizarre twist of fate, as the news says. And it's like, yeah, you got some very morally gray decisions to make in the future there, Donna Troy. You enjoy.
It's a miracle. Unbreakable.
It was actually really, really good. It was very well done and told. It was just bleak as sin. Jeez. Bleak as sin. It's a no-win situation is what she's going to be put in almost consistently. And, that's not cool. That's not cool at all.
Man.
So next up,
I've got Cyborg, number 9.
Cyborg.
Booyah.
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 All right. Cyborg coming into his own after
You don't have Cyborg. You liar. You cheated.
What?
Because I have Teen Titans. You just completely chopped me out of the mix there.
Oh, I did?
Yeah. I have Wonder Woman, then Teen Titans, because it's starring Wonder Woman.
Okay, well, everything got mixed up, so you're fine.
Sorry. Remember, you're on the 4 spot for Cyborg.
Sorry. Okay.
Wonder Woman. After realizing it's another Robin in her house. Do you remember what was happening in Teen Titans?
Vaguely.
Cassie, the Wonder Girl, the member of the Teen Titans, found out that her dad had turned to stone and had his head lopped off, and his head was sitting on Wonder Woman's mantle over her fireplace, and went, oh my God, and went to go find it, hearing this voice in her head.
That's why this has to come next.
Yes. And then was told, met by another demigod by the name of Cassandra, who said, hey, I was kind of complicit in your dad's murder. I kind of want to make things right and bring him back to life. Why don't you come with me and we'll make things better? And they all got whisked off, leaving poor Tim Drake, Red Robin, standing by himself in Wonder Woman's now trashed apartment. As Wonder Woman came home to find her house in disarray.
I've heard about you, Tim Drake. This matches your MO.
Actually, it's very funny because she's like setting him down. She's like, what the hell? Why did you do this, Robin? He's like, actually, my name is Red Robin.
Oh my God, Tim Drake. Oh my God.
And Wonder Woman's
We're not supposed to make fun of you anymore, Tim.
I know. But even Wonder Woman's like, well, I'm just going to call you Robin. You have to admit, there's a lot of you guys running around nowadays. He's like, yeah, I know. I kind of got lost in the shuffle because of it, but there's a lot of Robins. Fine, whatever you want to call me, but I do go by Red Robin. And so we get kind of a double backstory because Tim fills her in on what happened with Cassie showing up and taking her dad's severed stone head and Cassandra whisking them away. And so Wonder Woman tries to fill in Tim Drake at the exact same time that Cassandra is filling in the rest of the Teen Titans and Cassie as to the backstory, i.e. the old Wonder Woman run. The first, 34 issues or so of Wonder Woman?
Like that, yeah.
Where it's like, hey, I'm a demigod. Your dad, Lennox, he was also a demigod, and we were demigodding it around for some time. It was awesome. This is Cassandra talking. I had the demigod power of my voice was enchanted, and I could make people do things. I kind of went crazy with that power a little bit. Little bonkers. I made 40 people murder each other just for giggles. Whoops, bad call on my part. Your dad, Lennox, kept trying to make me be a good demigod, but he kind of got sick and tired of all my crap after that and ripped out my larynx. But luckily, Hephaestus forged me a new one, because that's what Hephaestus does. It doesn't have
a lot of wet works for
Hephaestus has like a forge/surgery center down in the basement of Mount Olympus there. But instead, in this case, it doesn't have the magic powers to make people do things, but it does make some bitchin' screeching sounds if I want them to. So I got that going for me. I am trying to atone for my sins because after all of that, I got a little angry, released the firstborn son of Zeus, who was buried at the center of the earth, and then went on a murder rampage, killing a bunch of people, including your dad, Lennox. My bad, sorry. Also killed Apollo and a bunch of other people as well. So I want to make atones. I want to at least bring Lennox back. He always saw something good in me. And to do that, we just have to fly on over to Greece, pull up the rod of Asclepius. I can't remember.
Don't look at me, man.
The one with the two snakes twined around it.
Gotcha.
The medicine staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
The medicine snake stick.
And it's over at the Temple of Apollo, and all we have to do is steal that, and I can bring back Lennox. And the rest of the Teen Titans are like, isn't Apollo the god going to be like really angry that you stole it? And she goes, well, I did kind of already murder him, so I don't think he can get much more mad at me. I think we're okay. And they show up to find, there's a giant serpent monster, like a giant snake that's all over and attacking them. And the Teen Titans are forced to defend themselves and save the people around the Temple of Apollo while Cassandra is digging up the rod. And they're all like, whoop-a-boo, fight, fight, fight. Until finally she digs up the rod and they're able to take down the snake. And just as Cassandra's reaching for it, Wonder Woman and Tim Drake show up and they tie her up in the lasso, Wonder Woman's lasso, and go, ha-ha! You are captured in Wonder Woman's lasso. Now you must tell the truth. What are you really up to? And she's like, I'm telling the truth. I'm actually wanted to bring back Lennox and make up for my past deeds. And they're like, ha! I'll be damned. She's telling the truth. And they let her go. And Cassandra goes, so what do you say, Wonder Woman? Do you want to team up and we can help out our niece together? And the whole Teen Titans are like, oh, Cassie, you're Wonder Woman's niece. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And Bunker's in the background just talking to himself like, I smell a team up. And that's where it leaves off with them about to go bring back Lennox. One of our favorite characters from that Wonder Woman run.
Yes.
Is if Orion shows up as well.
Oh man.
It would be almost like old days once again, where all of them are palling around being idiots together. So, I'm happy. Lennox was a very small bit character in a very, very popular run. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he is still one of those characters you don't expect to make it to the end, I guess.
Yeah.
And if they do bring him back as a supporting character to Cassie in the Teen Titans, I think that could be a nice little fit right there.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole, hey, I'm a demigod now. I just learned it myself. Huh. Wearing demon armor on top of that.
Yeah. What are the odds I find demon armor, take up the mantle of a Wonder Woman sidekick without being her sidekick, and it turns out I'm related to her? What? Comic books, everybody.
It's cute. I like it. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more light. There's a lot of comedic elements in it.
Less angst.
Yeah, a lot less angst and a lot
less harvest.
Yeah, a lot less harvest. Actually, it's pretty funny because everyone's like, Cassie's going around like, I'm the daughter of a god. You don't understand me at all. And Raven's in the back like, I'm the daughter of a demon lord. I kind of know where you're coming from. And everyone else is like, yeah, we hang out with her. What's the difference? It understands its characters a lot better. And
well done.
And it kind of runs with that. So, I recommend checking it out. I know it's had a very rough and rocky road in the past, and it seems to have rounded a corner at this point. So,
all right.
Now you may move on.
Very good. Cyborg number 9.
Now, booyah!
Booyah, indeed, yes. Yes, Cyborg, kind of been a background character in Justice League, hasn't had much of a character, but now he's got his own book, and he's becoming more well-defined.
Yes. A lot less booyah and a lot more like, hey, I'm a dramatical character with a lot of angst and issues, and maybe people could pay attention to me more than the guy that teleports everyone around.
He does say booyah, though.
Well, I know, but it's not his only thing.
Which makes me happy, if anything. The one thing I asked for. So Cyborg has been approached by Senator Champlin's goon squad of cybernetics enhanced goons, including former Vic Stone associate, blonde guy with eye patch.
Was that the football guy that he knew from college or high school?
It's possible. He also could have been one of the war vets that was mad that they weren't getting robot parts.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, like the great question.
The very
great question
valid
of in the DC universe is like, hey, people that are like side characters in comic books are getting their arms chopped off and getting cybernetic arms all the time. What about all of us war heroes that don't happen to know Bruce Wayne? Can we get some robot parts?
Can we get anything?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to shoot lasers, guys. You could give us the very base model here.
I would like to be able to pick up my child
coffee.
Or coffee. Yeah.
Do you have any super cybernetics that can do that?
Yes.
Anything?
So Shazam doesn't understand why he won't trust the government, so Shazam and Cyborg start fighting. Eventually, Guy with eye patch gets bored and cuts Victor's arm off. Ding. And Cyborg gives up and goes off with the government. But wait.
Oh.
Interspersed throughout the issue is Victor meeting up with the rest of the Justice League about Senator Champlin's Cybernetic Regulation Act.
You just love that, Senator Champlin.
And what it means and how they're going to stop it. It starts off with him hacking into government files to read the act early with Batman, and it's how it's being funded by a company named Cybertech that wants to implant a shutdown chip into every augmented human in America. Batman goes, hacking into government databases is illegal. Just kidding. I do it all the time. I did this thing with cell phones once. It was ridiculous. I went to China to do it just because I could. I didn't have to, just because. Ah, man, it's good to laugh sometimes.
Okay, Batman. Nice to see you.
So Clark just can't.
Batman's crazy.
Yes. Clark just can't believe that the government would pass such an intrusive law. I mean, it's called the Happy Time Robot Freedom Act. They wouldn't just give something a name like that if it was bad. And Diana's just like, oh, Clark, sweetie, honey, oh my goodness.
I can't believe we used the date.
Yes. But he lets the rest of the Justice League know that he can go full human now thanks to his technology, and they hatch a crazy plan where he wants to get caught. To be continued.
Oh, so it's a setup.
Mm-hmm.
The Justice League set him in to infiltrate the government, huh?
Yeah.
Because they didn't already have access to all the files and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Nice upswing issue. They might want to fix Cyborg's glowing nipples, though.
Does he have the Owlman boob missiles? Does he shoot it?
I was like, oh, he's got his nice streamlined costume, and then like when he goes all like glowy and stuff, he's got blue glowy nipples. I'm like,
To distract his enemies.
is Joel Schumacher going to be directing the Cyborg movie when it comes out? I don't know. I was making fun of the Gear C logo for looking a little clunky, but I'm not. I'll go back to the Gear
It's better
C.
than their first draft of glowy nipples with
Yes.
Cyborg over top of
Yes.
it.
But yes, very good. Even kind of addressing some of the more ridiculous aspects of I can hack into everything and I can technically murder Superman with my sonic weapons, and we don't want the government to get a hold of that.
Yeah. I mean, he's a lot more powerful than they've really played him up to be.
Yeah, he's just been
backgrounding, which is understandable because he is kind of like a high school college kid.
Yeah.
That really doesn't.
That accidentally got superpowers and got thrown into a Justice League adventure.
Yeah,
so.
and isn't really like trying to train to be a super powerful, like I can smote anyone guy. It's just hey, I'm just here to help out where I can because I literally can't live amongst people on Earth because I'm a giant clunky robot monster. Now that he can turn human though, well, maybe he'll start drifting off and learning his own stuff. And that's what we're getting here, which I kind of like. So, I'll have to borrow this one off you. I'm 2 back on this one. So I do want to catch up on it. Next up, No. I'm sorry. I almost stole from you this time. It's time for your Suicide Squad.
Oh, it's time for Suicide Squad. All right. Suicide Squad's Most Wanted number 3.
I forgot. We had to get all the movie properties up front here.
Deadshot and Katana got their miniseries puzzled together into one miniseries.
Yep.
So, Deadshot. Deadshot gets brought in by the Suicide Squad, mostly because he wants to stay alive so he can help his daughter, since Waller and his parents let her slip into the foster system. As Harley takes him come in quietly. Harley Quinn's taking him outside of his little, crazy shack.
Okay.
When Will Evans just shoots the crap out of him, paralyzes him, and leaves him hooked up to machinery in the basement of Task Force X headquarters.
I didn't see this coming!
Will Smith shows up and tells him that the origin story he stole from someone in prison about not wanting to waste bullets because stray bullets killed his family, it was him who had the superior origin story. You learned that story from me. I am Deadshot now. We never saw it coming.
Does he do the whole, look at me, I am the Deadshot now?
Yes, I'm the Deadshot now. I don't like red. I wear a blue costume, but check it out. I stole your costume pretty much and painted it blue. Haha, LOL.
I got a little eye thing, and that's all anyone really knows about Deadshot out in the public anyway. Yep. So I'm Deadshot now. I'm gonna go make a movie about me now.
If he just takes
How could you, Will Smith? How could you?
If he takes his name just to spite him, it'll be even funnier. I
do find it funny that this is basically the origin story of why Will Smith is playing Deadshot in the movies. Though.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Katana. Katana is in Markovia, a terribly unremarkable place that way too many people find important, her actual line, and has been taken hostage by Eve, the queen of Cobra la 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 la.
Thank you very much.
But she gets saved by the Suicide Squad, Deadshot Classic, Boomerang, Enchantress, Harley Quinn, and the not entirely expendable Heatstroke, Cold Snap, and Battle Axe.
Okay.
They
Masters of Disaster.
They free Katana and have Cobra la 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 on the run. But who should show up riding a tank but Prince Brion Markov?
Yes!
Yes! Sorry I'm late, everybody. Good thing I was able to scare off those bad guys. It's me, I'm the Prince of Markovia. I'll be king one day. I'm also the head of the army. Do you like my tank? It's my own personal tank. I got it for my birthday. Did this ugly cat get hurt in battle? Don't worry, I'm also a veterinarian. Every young lady in the area, please get your swooning out of the way now. Come to my castle. It's an exact replica of Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany, but I've improved it with our flag, a yellow triangle with a giant letter M in the official font of Markovia, Times New Roman. I'm Brion Markov.
Yay! He paid off. Is this Geoforce?
What gave you the impression, Sean? He sends the Suicide Squad.
The whole reason you have this book is because they went to Markovia in the first issue, and I was like, oh, no one goes to Markovia without Geoforce showing up. This is Brian's book.
Mm-hmm. He sends the Suicide Squad and Katana off to the Markovian volcano, where they harvest geothermal energy to deal with their Cobra la 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 infestation. They break in, hell breaks loose, Heatstroke almost dies on the suicide mission, but he doesn't, or she doesn't. Heatstroke's the she. They make their way back to the castle just to find that Cobra la 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 has taken over the castle while they are gone, raised the flag with the Garibaldi K upon it. Now King Cobra is in charge.
Who's making the flags for these people?
I don't know.
It's just an M or a K.
I don't know. I do not know.
I'm so happy.
I'm having fun.
Were you happy? Were you relieved that it finally came so that you could
If they had somehow gone to Markovia and he didn't show up, I'm like, why would you even use Markovia? Actually, it would have given me some kind of sense of relief. It's like, oh, maybe Geoforce doesn't exist in the New 52 universe.
Well, he technically hasn't been this is introduction for you.
This is, yeah.
You got to see the introduction of Geoforce in the New 52. There you go, buddy.
Yeah.
You got to be there from the day one.
Ground floor, yep.
Oh, man, I'm so happy. So happy. So what did you think as far as origin stories / side books or getting to know these characters before the movie comes out?
It's certainly a good way to do that. It's being handled by pretty good creators. You know, Buccellado's doing the Deadshot one, which obviously here's the editorial mandate: make Will Smith Deadshot. But he's certainly doing a good job with it, and his artist, who I can't quite remember, has got a real Capullo vibe to it. So if you enjoy Batman, So if you enjoy Batman, here you go. If he wants to maybe take over for Batman, or if he's like, ooh, maybe I can get the Batman gig coming up soon, I don't
know if they're going to keep the same direction.
Yeah.
In Rebirth. I don't know what they're going to do. So
who knows? But I'm just saying, if you enjoy Capullo, here's another guy who draws very similarly to him.
Cool.
But still has his own little personal touches.
Well, yeah, everyone does.
He's not mimicking it completely, but and Diogenes Neves of Demon Knights is drawing the Katana story. So, you know, I've got
Savage just going to fly by in low orbit.
Oh, I hope so. That would be great. I wish that dumb 80s Marvel stuff would happen more often in comics.
The one panel of Spider-Man swinging across, and you're like, I wonder where he's going.
Yeah.
If you want to know, read Super Superior Spider-Man Brush and Blue.
Yeah, something that directly ties in with the storyline. It's like, oh man, there's goes Spider-Man fighting the Kingpin across the sky. Okay.
But back to my story.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up the half then. I've got Batman and Robin Eternal. It's almost over. If you want to make your joke once more.
The most blatant case of false advertising since the Neverending Story.
Yes, there you go. 2 Neverending Story references this week.
Yeah.
Man, coming back with a vengeance. The Bat Clan is spread across the world trying to fend off the new Order of Orphans. I couldn't think of a good name for them. And these kid psychopaths that are under the mind control of the villainous mother who is trying to give everyone a horrible childhood, like scar their psyche so that they push through and become better people on the other end, who also happen to be loyal to her so that she can conquer the earth. Side benefits, hey. But everyone that has worked with the Bat family, except for Batman, obviously, because he was out of commission at this time frame, it has joined in the fight and gone to all of these cities to try to basically break the mind control devices, the signals that are being broadcast over these cities and help the kids. But Mother sent in these super assassins named Orphans that are there, and they are fighting everyone to a standstill while Scarecrow is finishing the countertoxin that they were going to release. Meanwhile, they are not the only ones having issues because Dick Grayson is at Mother's headquarters. He was the only one that went there solo to go try to save their friends, Harper Row and Cassandra Cain, and stop Mother herself. But he's having some issues himself because Azrael, the super proto-violent ultra Batman from the old continuity, the Batman that would kill, happily kill, that was around when Batman broke his back in the 90s. Well, in this one, he was mind-controlled.
The pointy Batman.
Much pointier. This one, he was mind-controlled by Mother and given a false background that he was a super prophet angel person sent to Earth to punish everyone that does wrong. And then he found out that it was all a lie and he actually was like a mechanic or some shit. And he's kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to murder you now. And he showed up to murder Mother. And Grayson's there going, no, don't you understand? You're still kind of falling into what she turned you into. You're not being yourself. There's another way. You can do this without being what she turned you into. And he pauses long enough and goes, what do you have in mind? And that's where we leave those two. Scarecrow, though, does finish his toxin, but as Cullen Rowe points out, who is working the board with Midnighter back at the home base, there's just no way for the team to fight off these 12 orphans and get to the devices and take them down at the same time. And Midnighter's just kind of sitting there and he's like, 12 of them? Well, I don't see what the problem is. And leaving Cullen to go, oh, I see what you're saying. I'll figure it out myself. And Midnighter kind of goes, whistle, 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 and marches back into this room and leaves Cullen to dimension door all 12 of the assassins into the room with Midnighter, who's just standing there with a big Christmas morning smile on his face like, finally get to punch some kids in the face. And the door shuts, and you just see all of the orphans spilled out on the floor looking up at him like, oh, shoot, this is gonna suck. And he's like, yay, Midnighter time.
If you're listening to this for the first time, you really need to get to know Midnighter.
Yes, yeah, he is the ultimate fighter, will not lose a fight, horrible at doing anything else.
Yes.
Cannot fit into society whatsoever, and that's what makes him so great, is he's got the whole superhero thing down as far as the punching, the being a human being part, not very good at. So the Bat Clan turns on the gas, breaking the signal that is taking over the minds of the rest of the children in each of these cities, and leaving Mother very, very angry back at her home base. Doubly angry because Harper Row will not brutally murder Cassandra Cain, who was responsible for killing Harper's mother. And she's like, all you have to do is kill her, and then you could be a superhero. You could join my team. I'll give you weapons. I'll do whatever you want to do. You'll be able to join this whole world of crazy assassins and ninjas and explosions. And heck, you might even get to fight Midnighter sometime. I don't know. I'm just saying, all you have to do is kill this little girl that killed your mother, and you're in. And so she finds out that the signal was broken, goes, turn on the signal for the other cities. Nobody can stop me from saving the world. And that's when the Eskrima stick comes in and stabs into the ground in front of her, stopping her from turning on the signal. And Dick Grayson comes in and goes, lady, I'm pretty damn sure that's my job. And he's like, hooah, Dick Grayson, super badass guy of the world. He didn't sing a song this time.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did, though. That's the thing.
Right now.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's fun. I like it. Mother is not the best villain, I have to say. Just not. I understand what they were going for, especially with these are all of the orphan kids that are working with Batman that Batman took in, and he was like their father figure, and then he got knocked out of the equation, and it was supposed to be, well, I'll step in as the mother figure and guide you guys, but I'm evil. Blah! And, so I understand the overarching themes they were going for. It just, as a villain, not very physical villain against these people when you have that many of them. Ninjas. That's what she has. Ninjas. But Midnighter got to punch all the kids in the face, so I was happy.
Yes.
That's all I needed. It was nice to see him as a non-helicopter parent, too, where he wasn't just like telling Cullen what to do. He's just like, 12 of them, that doesn't seem like a big issue. Doop, 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 doop. Water out. You'll figure it out. I'm sure you got it. And then, like, fate of the world at stake, and he's just like, I'm sure you kids got it. I'm sure you're fine. You'll figure it out. You guys are smart enough, and just kind of wanders off. And I was like, that's actually a great, hands off. I'm going to let you guys do it. I'm here to support you. I'll open up dimension doors wherever you need them, but you guys have to tell me where you want them. I'm going to let you guys figure it out on your own. And I was like, yeah, that's the parent you guys deserve right there. Midnighter, dad of the year. But that's it. That's all I got for this half of the show. Do you have anything else?
I believe so.
No, great. So what do you have coming up for the second half of this episode?
Sorry, new listeners. I've got Superman, Lois and Clark number 6, Secret 6, and Justice League 3001.
Oh, so nothing anyone would know on the second half. Well, maybe Lois and Clark, if they're old enough to remember Terry Hatcher.
Yeah.
I got Grayson singing songs and kicking butt yet again. Harley Quinn, Deathstroke, and I'll wrap it up with a little We Are Robin. No dum-dum-dums there. So hold on a couple seconds. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go through those books. And we have returned.
And we're back!
We are back. We just got done looking over all the DC Rebirth news stuff. Some holy cow teams coming out of that.
Jeez.
We were joking around about some of the art teams that they've put together for these bi-weekly books that they're just like, all chips on the table now, go! I
gotta say nice stuff about Victor Bogdanovich in the Suicide Squad. He's getting a book of his own.
Yeah, so see, you were just saying that too. Yeah. So he gets to hop in there.
Good job.
And we got Nicholas Scott back. We got a bunch of people back. I guess as far as creative teams, I'm pretty happy with the way a lot of these books turned out. So we'll get more in depth with that, obviously, as we get closer.
And as usual, all of my favorite artists are now drawing Batman books.
Everyone that you have ever shown any joy to. Well, Zurcher's back on Superman.
Yeah.
So That was something we absolutely loved.
That was the best stuff in Future's End. So.
Yeah, whenever he drew Superman showing up, we were like, yeah! So I don't know why they decided to put him there.
No.
Other than it's just amazing artwork, little things.
Yeah.
I guess that's a hard decision to make when you're moving people around like that. Let's stick with this week though. We'll get to the future later. We'll get there when the future ends. We'll get there. Grayson. Grayson.
Just let it wash over us.
Yes, you read a book like Grayson and you just go, yes, this is why I enjoy this hobby. It is a spy story, and I know a lot of you just went, spy story. That's what I said at the beginning too, and my tone has changed because this is so much fun. There's so much joy in it. Let's just catch up where we were because
when you mentioned that it was sort of like we dropped Nightwing into Archer in the DC universe. When you said that, all the parallels became so obvious. Like, oh my god, how did I not notice that for like a year? Ugh.
But it's so much fun. It really is so much fun. I can't go into the full backstory because this is 18 issues or so of spy crossing and double crossing. So we're just going to kind of pick up where we are now, and I'll try to fill in some of the back stuff where it was before. And where we are now is all of the different spy organizations of the DC universe have teamed up because they think Spiral, one of the other spy organizations that Dick Grayson works for, underneath Helena Bertinelli, aka the Huntress, as you Arrow watchers may know her as, she runs Spiral, and all the other spy agencies go, she's too dangerous, we know something about her, she needs to be taken out, we need to kill her. And Dick Grayson, alongside his cohort in crime, he's been calling him Tony the Tiger, but he's just the Tiger Hunter of Kandahar, Agent 1, is who his actual name is, and he is helping out Grayson in this. They both show up to stop it from happening. Not in time, because they're able to gouge out Helena's eye and knock her unconscious. And as Dr. Netz, the crazy psycho scientist that works alongside her, drags her to safety, both Grayson and Agent 1 hop into the fray and start fighting off all of the other representatives from the spy agencies, people like Grifter, King Faraday, Bronze Tiger, and Keshi. There's all these assassin ninjas that are there to kill her, and they start fighting off these people. We have to kill her. She's working with Leviathan. You don't understand. She must be stopped. And they fight, while inside the building, Agent Zero, aka Kathy Kane, just roll with me, folks, if you're new to this thing, is convincing the Skullgirl students, because this is a finishing school for assassins, that teaches the well-to-do girls of the DCU how to murder people and be assassins and super spies. And Agent Zero goes in and goes, hey, super spy girls in training, you guys have all been lied to. It's not actually me that's working for Leviathan. It's Agent Zero, or Agent 1, Agent 37, and Agent 8. They're working for them. Go stop them. They're bad people. And they go hup, and they go marching out there, and they find Agent 8, who everyone was confused at because she faked her own death issues back and has been running around as a doppelgang murderer, pretending she's Dick Grayson with hypnotic devices and whatnot, making people think she's Dick Grayson and framing him. And they go, you're supposed to be dead. You're working with Leviathan. Get her. Hup. And she detonates a bomb, blowing up the building, but everyone's fine. I don't know how that works, but they are. But the building falls apart, and crawling out of the rubble is Agent 8 and all of the Skullgirls. And Dick Grayson.
Were their names always that prominent?
What, the Skullgirls?
The Skullgirls, yeah.
Well, no, that was kind of their nickname that they took after they went out.
Well, no, I'm just saying that they were really using their actual civilian names a lot.
They've used them quite a bit in the past.
I was wondering if they were setting them up for something.
Do you remember when Dick Grayson first came to the school and he
was their acrobatics instructor that everyone was just looking at his butt?
And he went out training, jumping through the trees and stuff, and then all the girls were chasing him, doing a Manti raid, trying to steal his boxers. They've been in the background as characters and using their names throughout for the entire run. So I mean, they're little side background characters that are stand-ins for the school at large. Like, hey, look, all of the students aren't bad people. They're just sent to school by their parents. It wasn't their choice to be assassins, and maybe they could be saved and be good people and all that. I mean, it's a nice little stand-in, as I said. So Grayson goes, oh my god, Agent 8, she's still alive. I thought she was dead. And Agent 1, of course, knowing that she was alive from previous, goes, that's just what she wanted you to think. You stay out of it. I'm going to go fight her. And Grayson's like, well, I'm going to go save the Skull Girls and stop them from being all crazy. And the rest of the spy agencies are like, you can't both leave. Someone has to stay here and fight us. And they go, oh, right. Oh, got just the guy for you. And Grayson gets on the comms and goes, hey, Mr. Fight. Yeah, I got you a present. And a dimension door opens and Midnighter steps through and goes, oh, I'm not one for romance, but you are the gift that keeps on delivering, Dick Grayson. I just beat up a bunch of kids for you. I got to punch all these other people for you. Now you got me against every spy agency in the world. I love you, Dick Grayson. And there's this great scene where King Faraday looks over and sees it's Midnighter and he's like, oh no. And Midnighter just responds with, oh yeah. So as Grayson and Agent 1 run over to fight their respective opponents, in the background, like in the middle divider, there's like a movie reel that's going on of Midnighter fighting off all of the spy agents from the different organizations, just little like interspersed cuts going across the middle of the page the entire time. And we'll get back to those, because Grayson is able to convince the Skullgirls that, no, we're not working for Leviathan, and she's not working for Leviathan. I don't know if she's working for Leviathan, but it's actually Agent Zero who convinced you that we were working for Leviathan that's actually working for Leviathan. So help us stop Leviathan. And they're just like, we're just confused. We're just going to go back into lockdown. Let us know when it's all sorted out and who actually ended up working for Leviathan. Thanks. They kind of go back in. Meanwhile, Agent 1 is able to take down Agent 8, and they were ex-partners and ex-lovers even. And she's kind of yelling at him that prove that you're actually done with me, pull the trigger. And it's kind of a ambiguous end where Grayson comes over and says, yeah, the good guys finally won one for once. And Agent 1's just like, yeah, we're the good guys. And we don't see Agent 8 anywhere, so it can be implied that she escaped, he let her go. Or did he shoot her and bury her or hide her body or whatever? We don't know. He just seems very sad about it. I'm assuming she got away just because no body, no death. That's how it works. Mm-hmm.
And you did forget the most important thing.
Oh, I did?
Agent 1 made a joke.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. They actually stopped the entire flow of the comic book because Agent 1 looks over at Bronze Tiger and says, between you, me, and the serial cartoon guy, you're the third best tiger around. And the whole thing's like a record scratch goes as Grayson stops and goes, finally, you understand the wisecracking. That was a good one. I've been calling him Tony the Tiger too, just like you. So you made a reference
Tony the
back
Bronze
to
Tiger, yes.
But during that little interstitial of Midnighter fighting all of them, it's like him just beating everyone up, and then it ends with him Falcon punching Bronze Tiger right in the nards. And then he just stands up and laughs. He's like, Falcon punch. I love Midnighter so much.
Midnighter's the best.
I saw on Twitter someone was like, I know a lot of you think that Midnighter is just the gay Batman, but really what he is the Batman if he actually loved his job. Yes. I'm like, that's a great descriptive term for him. He actually loves punching people. Yes. So while all of the spy stuff is going on upstairs, let's go to the very easy to understand downstairs where Dr. Nets has taken Helena Bertinelli into the lab to try to patch her up. She's like, oh, hey, I just need to give you some quick surgery, and me being an insane scientist, it shouldn't be too difficult whatsoever. Maybe I'll strap some robot eyes in there. Hephaestus, I'll get him on the phone. He can forge you up a new eyeball.
Or Batgirl's tech guy. You know, he does what works too.
Whichever.
Good old Kadir.
And before she can do so, the Spiral main computer like wraps up Helena Bertinelli and a bunch of stuff so that she can't do her job, and says, no, it's too late. The time of the rebirth is at hand. You need to actually talk to your sister. And that's when Agent Zero steps out from the shadows and goes, sister, how are you? Oh, hello, sister. How are you? I guess Dad said he was going to come back by taking over one of his daughter's bodies, so I'm assuming that's happening now. Gee, I sure am going to miss you when I'm gone. And then Agent Zero goes, when you're gone? why would he take your crazy ass? I'm the better daughter. He's going to take over my body. Nuh-uh, he's going to take over my body. And they start fighting over whose body their crazy, psychotic, Nazi, super scientist SS father is going to possess. And as they're fighting, they turn around to see Helena Bertinelli in the full Dr. Otto Netz gear standing over them and just goes, oh, don't let me stop you, daughters. And they go, gasp, it turns out Helena Bertinelli was our sister all along. Eee! And that's the cliffhanger that we're ending on right now. Very easy to follow, I'm sure, for all of you folks that have just joined in. For those of you that have been reading every issue, very easy to follow. It is the spy backstab, counter stab, reverse backstab, which I guess is a front stab. And, it's very convoluted, and it's even calling back to pre-reboot history with Dr. Netz and Leviathan.
Yeah, just read Grant Morrison's 5-year run on Batman.
Which is also so easy to comprehend. They're not pulling punches, you have to admit.
Yeah.
As far as just saying, hey, we have a story we want to tell. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have to do some legwork, but we think it will pay off in the long run. Good luck, everybody. And they're just telling their story.
I'm still confused. Midnighter shows up every now and again.
You know what? He's not getting a new book in Rebirth.
Yeah.
He's ending here soon. But there's putting him out there as the ultimate the solver of every Bat family's problem. And it's kind of like this grand send-off ticker tape parade where it's like, Midnighter, you're the best. We love you. Yes. We'll see you in a couple years when we do it again.
Yep.
But he can live on in the hearts of everyone, going out on top. It's all like Rocky, where he's going out on top as the champ. Yeah. And he'll come back out of retirement later, and it'll be even better. He'll fight some Russian dude or something. I don't know what he's gonna do when
Grayson.
he comes back. And now if anyone gets the Marvel treatment of just running around in the background, going off on his own adventures, and we just touch on it and don't even just acknowledge it and don't follow up on it whatsoever, it should be Midnighter.
Oh, yes.
Just punching people in the background all the time. I think I said it before, where you had a werewolf in a headlock on a rooftop, just like, hey, everybody.
Just riding a giant lobster through a dimension door in the background of Nightwing, you know.
Just the most inopportune books.
This is Tuesday.
It'll be like Gotham Academy, where they're on their way to class and it's him just like pile driving lizard people in the background.
What was that?
Don't pay attention. He just shows up on occasion and does something weird. That I could get behind 100%.
That could be their October thing. Remember Where's Batman? We should do Where's Midnighter, and he should just show up in every single book in the background. Take that, Pandora.
I would enjoy that.
All right.
So moving on.
Superman, Lois and Clark, number 6.
Terry Hatcher, number 6.
Yes. All right, everyone. So spinning out of Convergence, a version of Superman and Lois Lane from the old continuity.
Before the reboot.
From before the New 52 reboot are now living on the New 52 Earth in seclusion as Lois.
Basically, they were spared from the reboot and allowed to live out while their new rebooted versions were running around having adventures in the present day.
So while Superman was depowered, they had a kid named Jonathan. They are living undercover as Clark and Lois White, and Lois is writing books exposing criminals under the name Author X. So, we start off with a flashback of classic Lois and Clark, with Lois freaking out that the New 52 Lois outed Superman as Clark Kent.
Yeah.
She's like, why would she do that? Why? Why is she the worst person ever in this continuity? And Clark's just like, well, looks like my beard is permanent. And she's like, don't joke at a time like this. I'm a terrible person. It's me, not me. So Superman and Lois are trying to save her editor, Cora, who has been captured by Bruno Ugly Mannheim's goons trying to figure out who Author X is, because she is trying to expose Intergang that he is in charge of before they run rampant on this continuity like they did in the old continuity.
Pretty fitting for her. I think that's a nice little story element.
Besides the Author X part, yeah. And
well, it would be difficult if Lois Lane kept writing things and they're like, I didn't write that. Why is someone pretending to be me writing really great Pulitzer Prize-winning award?
Call yourself Louise Smith or something. It's not that hard.
Not Lois Lane. Yeah. That's who I am.
They run a plan where Lois calls Cora, and Clark listens for her very specific ringtone for Lois, which is the Holly's Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress, which is the single most bizarre song for a platonic work friend you could possibly imagine. It's just like, man, thank goodness Cora is super weird or we'd never be able to save her. So,
well, how does Lois know this? Did she call her while she was sitting there with her?
So Clark saves her, but she gives up Lois's identity. So in the meantime,
it's a good song, though.
Yeah, it really reveals the age of the person writing it. But
no, I don't think so. It's retro. It's cool now.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like the zombies. They're cool now too. They were ahead of their time,
I suppose. So Mannheim's goons kidnap Lois and their son John. And while Clark should be saving them, he gets distracted by Badass Nation, the made-for-TV supervillain show, reality show where their homemade ex-con supersuit supervillain BlackRock is destroying a bridge that their second unit forgot to block off and file the appropriate paperwork for, putting hundreds of lives in danger. But John has been studying Clark Kent and has been putting two and two together. So after Bruno tries to burn them alive in a shed, John is able to break free from the restraints and get out of the door. He's got superpowers.
Hey!
Here's a new Superboy. Meanwhile...
Don't call me Superboy!
Meanwhile...
He's the Metropolis kid!
It's like, why does Dad look so much like the guy that's Superman, and Mom looks like the lady that revealed that he was Superman? What's going on here?
This seems kind of weird.
Yeah.
And he does wear that black spandex with the Superman S on it every now and again. But he swears it's not a Superman suit because it's not blue and red.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Hyathis, High Panala of the planet Alstair, knows that Hank Henshaw possesses the Oblivion Stone.
Uh-oh.
Wait.
The Oblivion. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Time Stone that Parallax took.
No. Not the Rosetta Stone of Time.
Yes.
It's the Oblivion Stone, which gets one page of every issue of Superman, Lois, and Clark.
Oh, man. That's a power right there.
Yeah.
I guess if a very Z-list hero got a hold of it, he could at least get some exposure.
Yep.
Come on, who do we want to give it to? Horsewoman! Come on, Horsewoman! Get the Oblivion Stone so we can get one page of your adventures each month.
I know.
We don't ask for much. Next up, Harley Quinn. This is pretty quick for me. Okay. Actually, before I do, Superman, Lois, and Clark. It seems to have some really good ideas from what you're telling me. Does it execute well?
The ideas are good.
Yeah.
They're being executed in a somewhat easy to follow fashion.
Yeah.
It's still super convoluted with all the continuity stuff, and all of the characters they are dealing with have been super Z-list.
Okay.
Like,
gotcha.
even if they're like trying to come up with like a new cool character, you look at this character and say, I can't imagine this character ever being seen.
From a storytelling perspective, that would make sense since he's trying to keep such a low profile.
It does make sense, but like, say, the Blanc guy that was in last issue, I can't imagine him ever wanting to be used by anyone else.
Sure.
You know, it's like, I do sort of want to see, I do love when characters show up in one comic. It's like, oh, I wouldn't mind seeing them again. Then when someone picks them up again, it's like, oh, cool to see them again. Whereas if Blanc were to show up in someone else's book, I'm like, oh, they're using him again? That's weird. You know?
Must have pulled the short stick out of the editor's pool this month.
Yeah.
Someone's got to put Blanc in their book. Who's going to do it?
Who's that?
You want a blank space? A Blanc space? What do you want here?
A really fancy pen that James Bond uses? I don't know.
Just put it in there. Make picture of it. Have Midnighter beating them up in the background. I don't care.
Oh man, I'd pay to see that.
See, there you go. All right, I was just curious. I haven't been reading it at all yet, so it was one of those books that I wasn't figuring was going to continue on, so I was just going to read it in one big block when it was done, because I figured it was only going to get like 12 issues or so.
I thought it was going to get 6, and it finished up 6 with no end in sight.
I think it was supposed to be 6, and then it got like a couple to stretch on to Rebirth because it's a staggered release, so they don't want to.
And it's going to be affecting things in Rebirth. So.
Yeah, and they don't want to have like 6 books coming out in June, and that's it. And then go, well, crap, we probably could have released a couple more. So next up, Harley Quinn. You know what they could do? Just make a bunch of Harley Quinn books.
They could
release them. That'd make some money. So Harley Quinn is having a stressful time in her life. She just sent her current boyfriend into witness protection program and had the final, just mentally exhausting showdown with her ex-boyfriend, the Joker, to call that abusive relationship off and physically, emotionally, and psychologically end it with him. And now she is just drained. I mean, she is empty, out of juice, back home in New York City, and just like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do next here. I mean, I guess I can get back to my life. She beats up some random thugs on the beach, literally rips the hair off some girl, and then says, get out of here. Doesn't really even have the heart. It's just kind of like going through the motions. And then finally she goes, well, I guess I'll get back into my life here. Someone's got to take over the Wax and Murder Museum in the basement. Now that Miss Macabre is gone, I should probably figure out who's going to do that. I have to get back to work at the nursing home as a psychiatrist because they don't do background checks here. And I promised I would be at the roller derby tonight as well. So I'm just going to get back into my life, get things going. And then her friends go, well, hey, you said you wanted to have a makeover, so let's try something new. Let's do your hair different or something like that. Just to, jumpstart yourself, make you feel a little better.
Makeover.
That's kind of what it is.
Makeover.
And she's like, yeah, we should do something like that, but I want something that screams drama, something cinematic even. And then they go, we got just the thing. And they do her hair, and it comes out looking just like Margot Robbie's from the upcoming Suicide Squad movie. And she looks in the mirror and she's like, it looks cinematic. And it just like winks at the camera as blatantly as humanly possible. Like, this wasn't my idea. This is being forced on me right now. Hey, here's your leather jacket with the quirky saying on the back that could be used as a double meaning. Oh, I know Margot Robbie uses Daddy's Little Girl or whatever. Mine says owned with a picture of the Joker on it. It could go either way. You don't know which one it is. Wink, wink, wink. They're forcing me to do this. I'll blink twice if they're making me. I mean, it's very tongue-in-cheek, and the fact that it is and
we called this like 2 years ago when they cast her. So.
Yes, and she's the spitting image of Margot Robbie now, and a like, yay, let's get out there and not even pretend that I don't have a movie coming out with me. And then just like Will Smith taking over the role of Deadshot, they're very blatant in their setup of lining up these comics with the movies that are coming out. So she heads on over to the roller derby, and as she shows up, we've gotten these interstitial background stories where some sort of military officer lost his arm and got his arm chopped off and replaced with cybernetics, and his skull was fractured and was pinching the nerves in his brain, and he goes crazy, so they end up breaking off the pinched nerves in his skull and scooping out his amygdala, and now he's woken up and he doesn't feel pain, and he's got robot arms. See, veterans can't get robot arms, but this guy that's all crazy saying, they're like, you have a robot arm. Have a good day, buddy. Get out there, do something. And he goes out, he attributes his problem to one person, of course that person being Harley Quinn, the person that crippled him in the first place. And apparently it happened like 2 years ago in the past, and we haven't seen it yet. And he breaks out of the mental hospital with his robot arms and finds a tool shed and has shown up as her opponent in the roller derby, the Red Tool. Armed with hacksaws and hammers and blowtorches and stuff, with just a walking tool shed. And he's gonna take her out in the roller derby to get revenge, and she wants to do it so that she can win the $60,000 prize for whoever wins this quote unquote roller derby, which is they skate in a circle and people throw weapons onto the rink, and they have to bludgeon to death or till they get knocked out of the rink their opponents. So, yay, roller derby! It's got some cute moments, as I said. The very obvious, we are being forced to do this stuff, and it did not gloss over the payoff from last issue with the Joker, where I said it could have gone very south, where they went goofy with it, or just too morose with it. It walked that line perfectly in the last issue, and they're giving it the gravitas that it needs in this issue. It's not something that she's just gonna shrug off and go back to being a goofy person. So I appreciate that, and I'm kind of curious to see where it goes from here. So Moving on.
All right. I will roll the dice and do Justice League 3001, number 10.
Gotcha.
Because you may have actually heard of some of these names.
Kind of.
All right. So this is an alternate continuity take on a potential future of the DC universe with future versions of our favorite Justice League characters.
Corrupt future versions?
Well, it was corrupted future versions. Now it's mostly just future versions of Keith Giffen's old Justice League characters that we love so much. So if you remember the Keith Giffen Justice League era of the 80s and early 90s, I think this is sort of him getting to do a continuation of that in an outlandish, futuristic setting.
Very outlandish.
Yes. So in this issue, the Tina Sung Batgirl, Wonder Woman 3000, and the Terry Powers Flash confront Tariq the prison guard about how he is still the convert. And he basically admits to it, since he can be everyone and he's a living consciousness, and he is working for Lady Styx and always has been. The 5 from Justice League 3000, resurrecting the Justice League. It's all part of a big game being run by Lady Styx. She just wanted someone around to have a real challenge, but not really a real one, just one that gave her more of a challenge, a bit harder than usual. And he possesses Wonder Woman 3000 just to be a jerk about it.
Well, that's kind of a jerk.
Yeah. Off on another planet, Supergirl, Fire, and Ice fight a bunch of scavenger bugs on a distant planet that had been ravaged by Lady Styx. They run into their old teammate Gnort, who is super old now and kind of like a Yoda version of himself.
Is he better? Is he like the wise man?
He's a little bit wise. He's kind of like a Yoda version of Gnort.
Nice. I am the greatest Green Lantern that is alive.
He does
today.
say that, yes. He's there helping oversee the scavenger bugs to try to get all of the valuable things left on the planet. You see, they're collecting them for his distant cousin, Larfleeze.
Oh, boy.
Tying in Larfleeze to Gnort is kind of brilliant,
yeah,
to be perfectly honest. The Starro diplomat...
So that means Larfleeze is still around, even though the Green Lanterns aren't?
He's still in charge of the Orange Light.
Oh, nice! Yay, Larfleeze is still around! So we can have Giffen doing Larfleeze again.
Yeah, and hey, and if Gnort is able to live that long, his species is able to live that long, that means Larfleeze is. So. Touche.
Yeah.
So the Starro diplomat that was sent in to be embedded with the Justice League, that I was so sad that the storyline seemed to get cut off for the reshift in focus to the all-female Justice League 3000. It turns out that he found his way to Paradise Island because Lady Guy Gardner was its only friend. So yay, the Starro diplomat gets to stick around a bit more. But, oh no, the evil Wonder Twin Terry is now Eclipso, and he's found out where the Justice League is hiding.
Eclipso. I've only read like one good story with Eclipso in it.
Yep, there aren't many.
There aren't. It does not. I've read a lot of Eclipso stories, and I've only read one that I actually enjoyed. And it's not a good run for that character for me.
Yep. Aside from the female Eclipso's appearance in the Blue Beetle series, I can't think of any good Eclipso.
Okay, I guess I got 2 then.
That was a one-issue thing, so.
But the Gene Loring
Eclipso, yeah.
Eclipso was just
that was a thing. Oof. Aside from when she showed up in Blue Beetle. Oof. All right, and in the backup story, Ariel Winter and Lois Lane 3000, who's like an evil superwoman lady.
Yeah, okay.
They track down Sinestro 3000, and he's operating and performing at a strip club on a pleasure planet.
Yes!
Genuine.
On the dance floor.
Genuine 3000 is collecting all of the royalties. He's out there, bow, 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 in his G-string, the most uncomfortable shots of Sinestro you could possibly imagine.
That makes a lot more sense what your opening question was now. Because I was like, what is he talking about? Why would we want him cast as Sinestro? Okay, yeah, I could see that now.
Yep.
I can see that. Is this like XXXX extra large?
Maybe.
Yeah. Magic Sinestro Mike.
I can't think of any good ways to do it.
Yeah, there isn't really.
But he also sold out to Lady Styx, and they get ambushed by Scullions. Oh, no.
Oh, no. He's going to dance them away.
Yep.
Dance away the pain. Dance away the pain. Does he pull a bucket and it dumps water on him while he's on the chair with his leggings and he just starts running in place a lot?
Yep. It was like, oh, God, Sinestro, can you just turn around while you're talking to us? Oh, you've got a heart right above your tramp stamp area on your G-string. Okay, that was not better. All right.
Not helping.
Oh, just wiggling his butt at them while he's taunting them. He's like,
that's so great.
Oh, Sinestro 3000. Oh,
you're the worst. You're incorrigible.
You went from the puffy pirate shirt to the G-string. Oh,
there is no in between for him.
Nope.
Well, good. I'm glad it has maintained its silliness. It was getting a little serious.
It got very serious. It's going back to the silliness. So
good.
That's nice.
I don't mind the serious tone every now and again. It's just
And again, the old Justice League would get super serious too. People just remember the laughy stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess he's still playing that little game then, as far as seeding in something serious and then going back to look at Sinestro and a G-string doing a striptease. It's like,
yep.
Wait, what? So let's talk serious business, because I got Deathstroke. Deathstroke. He's having some problems. His daughter was taken captive, and he's been trying to hunt down who has her with the help of his dead bastard friend. That's what his organization is called, the Dead Bastards. Victor Ruiz, who has been giving him information on where he might find his daughter, but every single time it has been a false lead or a dead end. And he's starting to get the idea that Victor is just kind of like running a betting pool and pitting Deathstroke against people that other people want to see him fight, and letting people bet on the outcome of it. But as he's about to beat up Victor Ruiz for this whole thing, Red Hood shows up because he's been hired to fight, beat up / slow down Deathstroke, and he's like, hey, I heard you're a scumbag, and I got these here serrated knives that I'm going to take you down with. And Deathstroke's just like, dude, come on, I don't got time for this. I know you're a badass. You got serrated knives. I heard all about you putting heads in duffel bags in the past. Can I just pay you more and you'll go away? And he's like, no way. Actually, I think he goes, no way, douche stroke. I'm going to take you down. And they end up fighting. Red Hood gets his serrated knives knocked out of his hands, so he picks up 2 trash can lids while Deathstroke comes at him with 2 swords, and then he drops the trash can lids and picks up his guns and shoots Deathstroke in the chest like 6 times, and Deathstroke's like, guess he brought a gun to a knife fight. Probably should have seen that coming. And as they're fighting, the police show up, and Red Hood goes, well, I did my job. I slowed you down, beat you up. Quit being such a D-bag. D-stroke, I guess. I don't know. And he kind of goes up to the rooftop, leaving Deathstroke there to be captured by the police, but he gets away as well, up to the same rooftop where the two of them start fighting until Victor Ruiz shoots a missile at them, in the attempt to knock Red Hood out of the way. But as, they're getting away in their helicopter, Deathstroke wants to take Red Hood along because he wants to find out who hired him, because he has a feeling it might be the same person who's screwing with him when it comes to all of this stuff. And just at that point, Victor Ruiz goes, hey, I got another lead. This one's for sure this time. Your daughter is in this abandoned mining town out west. We should go there. And he's like, fine, we'll go there. And they fly on over and land, and Victor comes along with them. Red Hood's still knocked out in the helicopter. And he's like, Victor, you just stay behind me. Stay out of my way. I'm tired of your crap already. You're lucky I'm not beating you up. And as they march into town, they run across Snakebite, who he fought over in Bell Rev prison. And before he can even fight him, Victor Ruiz stabs him in the back, quite literally with a knife, and goes, sorry, buddy. Pay was too good. And out comes the people that hired him, being Lawman, the skeleton Old West bounty hunter that has been hunting him, as well as his daughter, dressed up as Ravager, who he has convinced that Deathstroke has screwed her over somehow, and they're there to get their revenge. And they're going to beat him up and stab him, which means Red Hood should be showing up any minute now to be awesome and be Red Hood. And hopefully it'll be a Deathstroke Red Hood team up. The anti-heroes go to town, beating everyone up with serrated knives. Woo! Although Deathstroke was a little bit where I was like, oh, come on, man. You've been hanging around Roy Hart for too long.
Yep.
So, moving on.
Moving on. Secret 6, number 12.
Keep it secret. Keep it 6.
Sure. All right. So, Lady Shiva has shown up to recruit Strix to the League of Assassins. Batgirl and who has come in to help her old pal Strix, and the Secret 6 try to stop Shiva, but she just wipes the floor with them. Everyone is alive by my hand. If you come with me, they will not die. So Strix, sadly, decides to leave her friends so they can all survive.
Aww.
Batgirl gives her boots because when Strix first saw her in her new costume, she scribbled out, "I heart your boots."
Yes.
In like bad spelling, because that's what Strix
backwards
does.
letters, Kids R Us style.
Mm-hmm. And Porcelain gives her a lawn gnome so she could remember her time in suburbia, which I thought was funny.
Aw.
Yeah, so like Strix leaves with Shiva in a limo, and she's just clutching the boots and the lawn gnome crying. It's like the saddest, most ridiculous scene.
Strix was like the best character on all of them.
So she leaves with them, but the team decides to go after her and take on the League of Assassins. Also, Sue Dibny just came back. She got over her brainwashing from that first thing. Hooray! It's just, I'm okay now.
So it's Sue and Ralph together again.
Sue and Ralph together again, so...
Nothing ever goes wrong in that relationship.
Yeah. So Ralph decides to stop being Big Shot and becomes elongated man again in the really bright yellow and orange version of his costume.
A little Gotti there.
Yeah, you got a dimmer switch on your costume there, Ralph. So let's go fight the League of Assassins. I'm sure we will all make it out alive.
And then quickly, Sue Dibny catches on fire and he clutches her straw body to his chest, weeping with his face melting once more, right? Is that how it ends?
Oh, man.
That was rough, man. That was really, really rough.
Yep.
When you were like, read 52, it's pretty fun. I'm like, okay, what the hell is this?
The story ends nice.
Well, yeah, but it goes to some pretty dark places with that storyline.
Mm-hmm. We also see Scandal
petting a scarecrow like, it's okay, sweetheart, we'll be together.
Yep. We also see Scandal Savage, who didn't show up during Savage Dawn. Weird.
Okay.
And her wives, a random redhead lady, and Knockout, back from the dead thanks to the reboot. Hooray, Knockout.
Now all we need is Parademon. And I think I'd be happy.
Yes, but they're discussing how they're going to try to have a baby, and they're trying to come up with a donor. And like she's like, I only know like hunger dogs and parademons. I'm the worst person to ask. And she's like, oh my gosh, are we gonna have to use Catman? Are we gonna have to use Catman as the donor?
Bane. Then he could be Grandpa, and that's why he's being Dad Bane the whole time.
Oh my God. Oh, let it happen.
Just let it go. It'd be great. And he would try to teach symbolism to his grandchildren.
This is a big bat. This is a big bat symbol. It means something.
It means hit people with it. All right, so I'm going to wrap up this episode with We Are Robin, telling the story of a bunch of kids who were inspired by Batman. And after he got taken out of commission, they decided, we're kind of the activists of our day and age. We want to get out there and make the world a better place, but sending a tweet or making a Facebook meme literally does nothing, so we're going to be a bit more physically active in our activism. And they have donned the colors of the Robin, and they have gone out on the streets to fight crime. Unfortunately, after losing one of them to trying to defuse a bomb, other people being murdered on the streets due to their ignorance, and the police eventually passing a law because they were tired of all the children dressed up like Robins getting killed and other people killed, because everyone knows the quickest way to keep teenagers from doing something is make it illegal.
Yeah.
That's why you never see any teenagers smoking, drinking, stealing, fighting, or anything, because it's against the law. They have passed a city ordinance making wearing of the Robin colors illegal, as well as
outlaw the opera. They will be there with bells on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? I love Wagner. What are you going to do now? So that has left the We Are Robin team kind of afloat. They don't know exactly what to do. So we're checking in on a bunch of them because at this point, a guy by the name of Smiley, who idolizes the Joker, has formed the Joker's gang that you may have seen from the old Batman animated cartoon, the Batman Beyond stuff, and has rallied a bunch of disenfranchised youth to his banner, saying this whole city's a joke. No one gives a crap about us. It blows up like every other day. There were like 8,000 man-bats in every alleyway. Come on, guys. This place is a crap hole. Us living here is the biggest joke. This is stupid. We should try to tell everyone that this is really, really dumb. It's all a joke. Let's go out there and wake them up to wake up the sheeple, man. You gotta wake up the sheeple. And all these disenfranchised youths are like, yeah, that's new and original. No one's ever said that before. I'm with you. And so he's leading these gang of kids out to shock people into understanding that this Gotham City is a wasteland. No one should live here. And they're doing stuff like making YouTube videos of him shooting people at comedy clubs, like doing open mic nights and shooting people up on stage and stuff like that and posting them up. So all of the other We Are Robin kids are kind of like, hey, we were outlawed, but this is getting really out of hand. And we check in on each of them, where Duke is trying to take care of his Joker toxin parents who don't even really recognize him, and his mom's like biting his hands as he's trying to feed her applesauce and laughing. Really dark, depressing stuff. And he's seeing texts from all the other kids, like Rico, who's kind of going bonkers and losing her cool. Let me see. Izzy is being pulled in by her parents into working at their family restaurant instead of skip school, work at the restaurant. We just need you here to work. I don't care if you graduate. And she's like, I at least have to graduate high school so I can get out from underneath this. I have to better myself. And, who else do we get? Dax and Dre, who are kind of the two big characters I've been following. They're children of criminals. One of them is the son of the guy who killed Batman's parents. And the other one is a son to one of the mobsters, the Falcone mobsters, who has been a pain in Batman's rear, and they're both kind of sick of it and what their fathers did, and they're trying to find their own way. And it's Dax and Dre, and Dax is able to he's trying to put together grapple guns and recreate all of Batman's toys with just shop knowledge, basically. So he has janky versions of them. And Dre is
it's like a wooden gumball machine. This isn't a grappling gun at all. What are you doing? It's like, this is all I learned in shop class, man.
Oh my God. This is a birdhouse. What am I supposed to do with this? I don't know.
We're Robins. Come on.
Just live in it. Live in it. And then, he's trying. His heart's in the right place, but he's just not very good at it. And, it ends with, Dre is like the I am darkness, I am the night, I will murder all villains. And he's been working kind of this in-between ground between the Robins and the Talons, and, is very ultra violent. So he's gonna go out there and take care of things himself while Duke is trying to convince the other kids, hey, we should probably get the band back together and try to help out. Try to stop this Smiley guy. I have history with him. I need your help to try to find him. But that's when we find out what Smiley's plan was, where he comes into the school at that moment with a whole gang of people to start shooting up the school. And as we find out, that's happening in many other schools across Gotham City at the same time. Dun, dun, dun. It took a while for me. I'm not going to lie with these characters. Yeah. But they've grown into enjoyable characters to read. It's just like any book where you throw characters that you know nothing about at you. Yeah. It's all of these titles that were just like, here's a bunch of characters that we're introducing to you. God, I hope you people are around in 6 issues, because if you still are at that point, you're actually going to like the characters. If I wasn't doing the show, I probably wouldn't have stuck around after the first 3 or 4, because I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, I see what they're going for, but I'm not really into this.
It's like a slightly more cohesive version of the movement.
Yeah, it really is. And then by this issue, by 6, 7, 8 or so, I've actually grown to like the characters, and the characters have grown into newer versions of themselves. They're actually changing with each issue to the things that are happening around them, and they have that luxury, unlike Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, who are stuck in a perpetual state of very minor changes in their lives. Yeah. So these people are able to literally grow on an issue
10 issues, Jim Bats. 10 issues.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's almost a year, dude.
I was expecting to be done in 6.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was almost a year. You got to give them that much right there. That's pretty damn impressive. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I actually really kind of like these characters. I like Dax and Dre, and I like his crappy woodshop gadgets that he's putting together. I think it's awesome. This
is a battering. It's a cutting board. At least cut it in the shape of a bat.
But the awkward teen romances where it's like Izzy and Duke are hanging out, so Rico's all like, well, I guess you could ask Izzy your girlfriend now. And he's like, we fought someone in an alleyway. I don't really consider that a date, but I mean, I guess. I mean, it's grown. It's picked up into a very fun book, and I'm pretty damn well positive this one isn't coming back after Rebirth, but it's still pretty good. I like it, I have to say. So when it comes out in trade, I recommend checking it out. Yes. I mean, obviously I'm not saying jump on in the last 2 issues of the run, so just wait for the trade and check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. But that's all we got, I
If
think.
you've already bought Midnighter, then you can buy.
Well, yes. Midnighter first. I'm not gonna.
I think we're going to start reminding people to buy the Midnighter trade every single week,
Right?
just until
the first
people.
one already came out.
First one already came out. Yeah, it's on the way. It's on the way for me.
Yeah, it was on the desk, and you were sitting there, and you're like, "Whoa!" As well as Gotham Academy Volume 2 just came out this month too. So
very nice.
Yeah, got a bunch of them that are coming out here that I'm like, yay! But that's it. That's all the books that we have for this week. As a reminder to you guys, go out there and buy these books. Yes, we are in the last month and a half, 2 months before a relaunch of new titles as far as a new status quo, new creative teams, etc. Everything's at the tail end of its story arcs. I fully understand that you would not want to jump into a story at this point. That being said, you have no excuse if a book is canceled and you're like, well, I wasn't buying it, but I was pretty sure I was going to like it at some point when I got to it. If you're not buying it, it's going to get canceled in the future. These are votes. These are things stating, hey, I like this story. I like these characters. I like this creative team. I like this tone, blah, blah, blah. Your vote counts. It really, really does. More than in any other medium I think that's out there as far as music, movies, TV. The individual vote, considering the amount of people that are actually buying these books, has much more impact than any other medium source, I would think. Do you agree with that? As far as like, if you watch a TV show or don't watch that week, it's not really going to have that much of an impact on whether that show is on the air next season or not. If you buy an album or not, it's not really going to impact it that much. You as an individual, I guess an album in this case.
Yeah.
If you buy a single or not, it's not going to have that much of an impact. It's not going to cause that artist to not eat or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, I think comics is one of the most vote intensive as far as keeping things alive or directions that people are going, than any other of those types of entertainment mediums. So make sure you cast your vote. I know it's election season and you're tired of people talking about votes and whatnot, but this one's a little bit different. This is for stuff you like, not for stuff you barely give a crap about or aren't exactly pleased with. So.
Yes.
Next week we will have more books. Mm-hmm. Unless you want to do something different next week. Do you want to pivot? Maybe do some multimedia stuff? I mean, we got the movies and stuff like that out. We can maybe do something a little bit more multimedia friendly if you want.
Maybe.
What do you say to that?
We will see.
Yeah. Maybe we'll try that out. See how it goes. I like pivoting. Pivot. Did you ever see,
Pivot.
Did you see Silicon Valley?
Season 2?
Yeah.
I'm catching up on it still.
When they figure out they don't have a product whatsoever, they just have the name and the logo, and the one guy's like, we just need to pivot. They're like, what do we pivot to? And he's like, I don't know. Let me go crowd test. Let me ask. It's very good. So I've been using pivot whenever I don't have anything. I'm just like, I'm pivoting right now. But yes, we'll do something next week. We'll figure it out. If you do want to contact us, where can they do so, Brian?
The internet.
Yeah, it's out there. We're DCR Podcast everywhere. That's the amount of pimping we do. We're not selling you anything. We're not, asking you to vote or, give us likes or anything like that. We don't ask for money because we want you to spend it on the books you like. So, if you want to ask us a question or find us, that's how you do. We're not asking you to do anything other than that. Do you have anything before we take off though?
Not really.
Not really?
I could wish Hollywood Scott a happy birthday, but he's not listening to this.
Hollywood Scott. Yeah. I'm going to say go in as an Elseworlds movie is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And
you're dragging me on a field trip.
I am.
That's
where we're going.
At the very least, it's got to be discount day, man.
Discount day? Come on. It has to be now. We're going right now.
No.
Yeah, let's go right now. Okay, end of the show. We're going to see the movie. Everyone, enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives.
I'm blinking twice on this audio podcast.
And we'll talk to you next week.